hello, Sisterlocks family, and welcome. My name is Cassandra Lawson, and I'm your host for the Sisterlocks Media podcast. I am so happy and so blessed to have one of my students. She took the class in March of this year, Rebecca Ote. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Cassandra. How are you?
I am great, and I'm super excited to have you here. Like a lot of my students, most of my students, you have an impact on me. You guys keep me excited. You keep me on my toes, and that's why I asked you to be here today. Okay, I'm gonna have just ask you a few questions, get all up in your business, right? but let's
Okay.
but let's start off. Tell us, where you're from, where you're located, and just some a little background information.
Certainly. So I was born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. I now live in Portland, Oregon, in the best coast in the US. The West Coast is the best coast. Sorry,
Yeah.
not sorry. And yes, so that's where I'm located now.
Okay. And then how long have you been in Oregon?
I moved to Oregon about 3 years ago from Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Okay. Now
Hmm.
I'm looking at your beautiful sister locks. You have
Oh,
color and
thank you.
everything. Yeah.
Everything.
I
Yes. They haven't always looked like this because when I started, they were very thin and short and broken from years of relaxers. And so when I started my journey, they were not cute at first. So it's been about 9 years ago they were born.
okay. So you got your locks 9 years ago. You had
Hmm.
a rough start. Do
Mm.
you remember how long did it take for you to start, loving your locks or noticing the change in the growth?
Hmm. I would have to say I got my locks in February of 2015. And they were thin, and my family was talking like, what are you thinking? People are not going to like that, especially in my business. I worked in mostly Caucasian beauty salons. I'm an esthetician, and so but I hung in there with it. So I would have to say this is my story. I went to Africa in June of that year, and I shampooed my hair while I was there, and it just exploded, my hair. So it was something about that water in Africa. That's my story. So after 6 months was when I noticed a big difference. When I say it blew up, it was like it was thick and it had a lot of growth in that month's time. So I would have to say I started loving them between that 6 to 9 month period.
Okay, when the settling in process started to happen. And let's back up
Hmm.
just a little bit. How did you find out about Sister Locks in the first place?
So I had a client who wore sister locks. She had had them about 3 years when I started doing her. And I just watched them grow and become prettier and prettier, probably for about 2 years. Her name was Jessica. I'll never forget because that's my daughter's name. So I finally said, Jessica, tell me what's going on. Talk to me about Sister Locks. And so she loved them. She had had her hair was short before, and she told me about who her loctician was. And so I started researching. One Sunday morning, I woke up, Cassandra, and I was on the Sister Logger website, YouTube. I was watching stories about women who started with really short hair, and I watched their journey and their pictures and how their hair just blossomed from where they started in the beginning. And that Monday, I called her loctician. Her name is Ann. Hey, Ann, if you out there, girl, what's up? And so she did my establishment, and I can tell, I've never had this conversation with her, but I could tell she was concerned about how I was going to feel about how my locks were going to look after she established them. But I already understood that it was going to be a journey and a process. And so that's how it all started.
Okay. It sounds like she really like nurtured you and loved you through it, right?
She did. Bless her heart. She did. She truly did.
But okay, so um my question is I'm going to switch up the questions a little bit. From the time, what I know you're in the beauty industry, right? Uh,
Yeah.
when did you decide to take the Sister Loss training?
Hmm. So I actually, I've been in the beauty industry for 40 plus years.
Mhm.
I started when I was 4 years old. Not really. Anyway, and so when I moved to Portland, after about a year or so, I decided to retire from the beauty industry, and I went to work for corporate. Which is great. I love my day job. And so, in moving, I've moved a lot throughout my career. I noticed how difficult it is to find sister lock technicians, trainees, or consultants, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. It's just hard. Um, and so, I started going all the way from Portland to Seattle to get my hair done by Gina Champion Smith.
We love Gina.
So Gina was starting to get into education. She's an educator now. And she just talked to me about the benefits of being a Sister Lock representative. And I understood how her business had grown and my income potential. And because I had had experience in the beauty industry before, it just made sense because I understand how to build a business. I understand how to create an environment where clients will want to come and send their friends, their mamas, their cousins, and all their people. And
Mhm.
so it just made sense. So I love the industry anyway. I love people. And I love my sister locks. I love the community. And so I said, you know what, Gina, I'm going to take the plunge. The only reason I didn't take her class at that moment was because I was going to be traveling, and the San Diego class was open at a good time for me to start immediately.
Okay, I just want to say about Miss Gina, I have been blessed to be able to train with her. She is amazing and no nonsense.
That part. That part right there, yes. She is no nonsense. She's business. She's strictly sister lock. That's what I love about her. She is a great representation of the sister lock brand. She promotes the products, nothing outside of that. And she runs a very sharp, tight ship. And I have so much respect for her. And I'm glad to be in this area near her because I can call on her and ask questions. And she's always willing to help me out in my journey as a Sister Lock representative.
Yeah, look, that is a blessing. She's like one of the amazing new trainers, and I'll say it again. I love, love, love her. So
Me too.
you decided to take the social loss class. How did you prepare for the training class, and what was your experience before you actually stepped into the classroom?
Mhm. So, the way the classes are set up, the thought process that went into preparing us for the course is world class. That's what was impressive to me. I knew exactly what to do. I knew exactly what was expected. The coursework that you take in the beginning online before you actually go to the in-person class, everything is laid out, is seamless. You have an opportunity to really learn and understand the processes and the guidelines and what's expected. So how I prepared was I followed it to the letter. I dotted every I and crossed every T. And I found that in the beauty industry that when you're starting out, you can't stray away from what is being taught to you. And so I followed everything by the book. I got the exact mannequin that was in the pictures of what mannequin to get. I went through the list to find the exact one. I made sure that I had all of my supplies and that I was prepared and more than prepared. And then I was even thinking maybe someone in my class may not have had an opportunity to get their supplies, so I even brought extra. If somebody else didn't have enough, I'd be like, "Here, girl, take these." Um, and so that's how I prepared. I also started an Instagram page announcing that I was about to start taking the class. I hired a graphics guy to create my logo. I started a website as well. He did my website for me that way because I need this business to work for me. This is my last hurrah, and I want to do well. So realizing that it's important to just go all in. That's what I did before I ever got to San Diego for the class. I was basically my business was set up.
Okay, okay. So you did your online coursework, and then you came to the in-person class. What was that experience like? Did it live up to your expectations? And did I scare you?
Well, I have to tell you, can I be candid?
Please, please. I love,
Okay.
love that.
Okay. So it exceeded my expectations. And I'll tell you why. Because many times I've taken courses throughout my career in these 40 years. And I've had educators who were really, really nice and they presented the information well, but they didn't really have control over the classroom environment because they were trying to be the student's friend. Okay. And then for those of us who were focused and were there to really learn and get as much and pull as much from the educators we could, it was kind of a distraction. And I felt like I wanted a refund. However, comma, in your class, I love it how direct you are. You are a no nonsense person, a lot like Gina, and you control the classroom. And because of that, you were able to pour into us so much information and give us so many tools and tricks of the trade. Had you not had that control, we would have missed out on a lot. But you didn't play. We started on time. If you didn't get back from break on time, shame on you because you started on time. Your classes were structured, organized. We knew exactly what to expect and what we were doing. It was just amazing. I'm gonna be like you when I grow up. I'm just
but,
saying.
but thank you so much for that. I mean, I all that is true, but I always hope that I come across as I'm doing it in love, right? And not from just trying to be mean and pick on you guys, but just to, like you said, get as much information as I can and keep the flow of class. And then also, I think sometimes people become a distraction during the class, right? You know. They're looking at their phone or doing whatever else. And I don't allow that because they're getting in their own way. We don't realize what we're missing when we're chatting with a classmate or how we're a distraction. So what I notice is that when I kind of bring everybody back in, even if they're irritated with me in the moment, by the time you leave the class and you have the information, they have more of an understanding. Okay. Um, so you like the way the class was structured. How was your day one experience? We started off with the theory in the morning and then the hands on. What do you think about that?
I like that. I like that because it gave a pause on the theory to do hands-on and not do because I've been in classes where the first day was all just theory. And so by the end of the day, you're on information overload. And then the next day, you're doing the hands-on and you're like, okay, so what are we doing now? So I like the fact that the first part of the day was theory. And then we got to actually do some hands-on work, getting us prepared to do more hands-on work the next day. So I really like that. And I like to go back just one step. Yes, you are direct and you control your classes, but I never felt like it was you were being mean. I felt like you were in control. And that's how I raise my daughters too. I love them. Sometimes I have to say things to them that makes them feel uncomfortable, but it's out of love and it's for their benefit. And that's what we got from you. So thank you.
Like, you're welcome, you're welcome. So I have to ask, when you first started working on your mannequin, putting on your first few locks, do those first early locks, what was your thoughts? How'd you feel?
My
I'm
first thought was, Jesus, what have I gotten myself into? It was not easy. You make it look easy, it. I thought it was going to be much easier. But this is the part too that I value is because you have so much experience, you, Cassandra. You could look at me and tell exactly what I needed to correct in the way I was holding my tool, where to put my fingers. You were so good at that, directing us one on one, even though what it was 7 or 9 of us or something.
Mhm.
You were able to look at spend time with each person and help them to get over the hump. Whereas if we didn't have that, we'd probably still today be trying to figure out how to hold that tool. But you were very good at at showing us how to use it. So when I went to my hotel that night, I could hear you talking in my head. Okay, slide that thing and make sure and bend the tool down. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So the assignment after the course really opened up my confidence in my ability to use the tool. And so, not to go too much past what you asked me, that was tough. That first day, I was like, oh, Jesus. I think it took me an hour to do one or two locks, or maybe three. But now, I'm good now.
Oh, I know you are. So it's funny because after day one, we assign homework and you have to do 40 locks. And I know when I say that, I send out a welcome letter so you guys kind of have a heads up. But when I know when we say 40 locks, complete 40 locks, the students are just like, you got to be kidding. It's taking me 10 minutes to do one. How can I do 40? But I love your comment on it really does help you with your confidence. Even if you struggle a little bit, when you come the next day, you have more practice with the tool, and we can just kind of tweak the things that you're struggling in, and it really makes a difference. I mean, even to this
Absolutely.
day, I was just in Nashville over the weekend, and just the way the class is structured, Dr. Cornwell being a professor, Sister Locks is definitely the training classes are curriculum, and how the class builds and the information builds. And did you notice that your confidence kind of built as you went along with the class, as you gathered more information?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I can tell a lot of thought, and that's what I love about the Sister Lock brand is Dr. Cornwell is a dynamic person, but she also has a serious educational background, and she was a professor, right? And so you can tell that the way the materials are presented to us, you can tell that some person like myself didn't just throw it together. You can tell someone who knows what they're doing as it relates to a curriculum and steps and moving through the process, one concept building upon another. You can tell that it's handled by someone that knows what they're doing. And I'm so appreciative of Dr. Cornwell pouring her heart and her sisters too into this brand. It's changed a lot of lives, I'm sure.
Yes. It's funny because that's my business motto. I don't do hair, I change lives. And
Ah, yeah.
and that has definitely translated into my teaching. Like my first passion is doing hair, working with my clients. I just love them. And now to be able to work with amazing women like you, we have men too. We don't have as many, but we definitely, just our Shalot's family. It's such exciting and a blessing to me, even just to do this interview with you, to see your beautiful chair and your setup behind you.
Well,
You know,
I'm following you. I copy everything you do, everything you said. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get me a chair like that, a nice big old chair. Now your chair is absolutely amazing with all the metal, and I'm like, so I'm gonna graduate to that, okay? But thank you, Amazon.
it, look, now love me some Amazon now. Let's not play when it comes to that. But I feel like when I got my start and I took the class, I didn't know anything about Sisterlocks. I took the class because I was nosy, and my Sisterlocks career was based upon my trainer. Everything she said, I wrote down. Everything she was a master trainer. I wanted to be a master trainer. You know. And so that really kind of set me up because you have to do what they do to get what they got, you know.
Right,
And
right.
so I followed her because she was doing what I wanted her to do. And nowadays I think sometimes people get distracted by shiny things, like they go on social media and someone is
Oh,
talking about something. Oh, I
mm,
know, like they're an expert, you know what I mean?
mm,
And you have to follow the right people. And I don't want
absolutely.
to. It's not me. I follow the Stoic system by the book, and I just kind of pass that down to the next
Mm,
generation of consultants. Now, Rebecca, on the topic of social media, I often try to let my students know that you can't build a Sister Lots business just using social media. What do you think about that?
hmm. Well, what had happened was when you said that to us in class, and me and a couple of the other students was like, she don't know what she's talking about. how can you say that in today's world where, everything revolves around social media? This is how we're going to grow our business, and we're going to have a big old following, and we're going to be on Instagram, and we're going to be do, 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 do. And so when you made that comment, I was like, wow, I was shocked, and I didn't agree with you, but I didn't say it out loud.
One of
But
your
in here,
classmates did.
I know. And I was like, uh-oh. Because I saw the
Wait,
look on your face kind of change, that sweet look you get, and then
well,
you
because
went
she
on and said,
said maybe it might have been like that maybe back in your day. Okay, okay, let me
she
stop.
did.
Keep going.
She did. I was there. She did. God bless her heart. But I was thinking, because your day, I'm go further back than you. I'm probably old enough to be your mom. But anyway, I didn't believe it. Well, I get back home and I put this flyer online where I was offering a special pricing for an establishment. And to just give one example of a few, there was a young lady who reached out to me, and she was coming from a distance. And I told her that there would be a deposit required. And she basically went off. How could I be charging the deposit before she gets her service rendered? Well, that's the purpose of. And she only paid $70 before to get her hair done. I don't know what she was getting done. She only paid $70 before, and that the lady blocked her and she didn't even get her service done and blah blah blah. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, is this money worth it to out the box be dealing with a person that has an attitude with me? And it's not many. I'm as nice as I can be always, and I just couldn't imagine continuing a relationship with this young lady, allowing her to come, in my sanctuary, sit in here, and then I don't know what she's capable of down the road. You understand? And so that is typically the type of people that I've gotten from Instagram. But now the people that come to me from the website that find me on the Sisterlock registry, totally different animal. So yeah, thank you for asking that question because when you first said it in class, I was like, wow, I can't believe she's saying that. But now I get it. I
I mean,
get it.
it's funny because I even though I add that part, and it's not that you'll never find a client from social media, but for Sister Locks, because it's such a complete system, and there's so many responsibilities as a client, what the client is required to do and what we're required to do, and to really get the best benefit of Sister Locks, a client needs to come in well educated, and so when you have a client who it's that word of mouth. Either they went to the Starbucks website, they found you there, and then from there they may look you up and go to your Instagram or go to a TikTok and get to see
Right,
your work. It's kind
right.
of like that opposite thing, or a referral from. I'm pretty sure you'll probably get referrals from
Hmm.
myself, Miss Gina. I actually have a client in your area. Those are the best clients because they've done their due diligence and they know what they're looking for. Um,
Hmm.
so I stand by that, and all my friends, they kind of have a similar opinion. But I did tell your classmate, prove me wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing it, but what'll happen is trainee will finish class and they will put all their time in social media. They don't finish their mannequin. They don't review their book. They're not doing any of the practical hard work. So even if you do find
Hmm.
someone from Instagram because you're trying to post every day and you have no clients, I'm not gonna go there. Let me stop. Um, they're not
I
prepared.
don't post. Yeah, I can see that because it is time consuming. Because
Mhm.
once you get on there, you're posting every day, then you find yourself watching other people and this blah blah blah. And so I have to brag and say I finished my mannequin in the first week.
Oh, oh, what? And how did it make you
I'm
feel
just
when you
playing.
finished drinking? Huh?
Girl, like a professional for real. I get it. I get it why you require us to finish our mannequin before we take our first guest. I get it. It makes sense. I'm so much faster with my tool. I understand. I got the patterns here because I use different patterns on my mannequin, and I feel so astute. I feel so um, well trained and ready to do people after finishing that mannequin. Did it take me a lot of hours? Yes, it did, but I wanted to put in the work. I've actually ordered another mannequin head so that when I'm not doing clients, I can keep working and get that muscle memory. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so, yeah, I really appreciate that. Again, this is why it's so important to just do what you're asked to do. You come out so much better rather than putting your own spin on it or listening to people on the internet. Do what the teacher says, and you'll come out so much better. I'm so happy that I'm following the guidelines.
Yeah. But I wish I could wave a magic wand and just, make you guys know everything that I know that I've learned over all of these years. But there's just no shortcut to that. Um, so I would like to know how is your business going, right now? Have you had any type of, struggles, or how you feel about it?
hmm I love it. You told me, and thank you for taking my calls and my answering my text messages and stuff. I really appreciate that. I told you that what should I do now? I finished my mannequin, and you said reach out to other sister lock specialists in your area, and that's what I did. They have like taken me under their wings, and so they're referring their people to me when they have overflow. Like for example, one young lady who is a sister lock consultant, she is on vacation for the next 2 months. So guess who she referred her clients to for the next 2 months? Moi, me. Isn't that amazing?
Mhm.
Had I not reached out to her like you recommended and asked her if there's anything you can tell me that'll help my business, what do you think about this? I asked her opinion on things. She would have never known me and certainly never trusted her clients with me. I did have to send her a picture of my mannequin head. She wanted to see how I work. hmm And and so I'm doing her clients. Now she's also referred her clients to another person who she typically refers them to, but she added me to the list. So I've actually been doing some of her clients, and so that's been amazing. Uh, so what has been a struggle to answer that question is not being able to finish people in a timely manner like more experienced people are. If it takes an experienced person 3 to 4 hours, it takes me 5 to 6 hours.
Mhm.
Or sometimes longer. So that is something that I'm trying to work on, and that's why I ordered another mannequin so that I can continue to practice when I'm not doing clients.
Mhm. And that comes with time. So just to ask you a question about that, if it's taking you longer, do you tend to try to do that in one sitting, or will you break that up into a separate appointment?
hmm I didn't the last time. The last client I did, she had a lot of locks, and they were long, and it took me 8 hours. I know, but they were pretty. Uh, she rebooked.
Oh,
Um, uh, she wanted to. First of all, I'm closer in
yes.
proximity to where she lives, but she didn't mind the time at all. And my chair is comfortable. I have a big screen TV for them to watch, or they can listen to their music. I provide, water, tea, coffee, uh, and so it taking 8 hours is okay. More than that, I would probably want to split it up. So that's another thing to get used to, standing on my feet again for all those hours. Having the chair that I have that adjusts, it'll recline, so I can sit on my stool and do like the top of their head, and they can nap for a couple of hours. So as far as splitting it up into 2 visits, I think if it's going to take me longer than 6 to 8 hours, that's probably what I'll do. What do
Okay.
you think?
That's a good advice. Usually if you're able to finish the fronts, and some of their Nate clients are, extremely happy.
Oh,
When they come to you, they know you're a trainee. That's why we tell you, don't be afraid to tell people that you're a trainee. Be honest, and people will appreciate that. And I can tell you this: the consultants you've talked to, the reason why they're taking you seriously, even as a trainee, was because you finished your mannequin.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
if you would have finished your
yeah,
mannequin, you wouldn't have anything to send, to the woman who's referring you clients, um,
right.
clients now. And it gives you something to show off to your own clients, right? When they come, you
Yeah,
can
I have
show
it sitting right here where they can see it. Hmm.
Yeah, does she have a name?
Yeah, her name is Felicia. Hey, Felicia, girl.
I love that. I named my mannequin Sister Girl, and then later on, when I was trying to come up
Uh-huh.
with the business name, it was going to be Sister Girl Locks. But
Hmm.
because I do other things, I'm a cosmetologist with cutting and things like that. I decided to do Sister Girl Styles, and look,
Look,
uh, 17, almost 18 years later, I still
wow.
use that, and that is very much a blessing.
18 years.
It's
Were you
it
4 years old too when you started?
I was two when I started.
Oh, okay. Two.
I was two when I started, and I took the class because I was nosy, right? Someone was doing it in the shop I was working in, and I was just interested. And when I got into that classroom, I was so fascinated with how complete the system is. So that caught my attention. And after I did my first establishment, I quit my job. I did that January 1st and 2nd of 2007. Yeah, that's when I did my first establishment. Miss Courtney Carter. She still has her locks to this day. They're beautiful. She lives in Temecula, California, and she has a samba dance troupe.
Mm.
Yes, and she teaches samba lessons, and she's in carnivals. And to see her in her beautiful costumes with her beautiful locks, it's
Oh,
just
wow.
it's just amazing to see. And side note, I also did her niece at the time, Miss Nairobi. She was 8 years old. And so now she's
Oh,
an adult. So now she dances samba too. And so to see them dancing and just living their lives with their beautiful
mhm.
locks, it's just kind of a
Wow.
blessing. So I made the
Yeah.
right decision in quitting my job. Because I had one client when I quit my job, don't recommend them.
Wow.
But
That was brave.
I had the support of my husband, and I was in the hair care industry, so it wasn't like just like a complete step
I
away.
see.
But I left
Hmm.
the shop and I started working from home, and it was partially because I just knew I wouldn't be able to give the level of the shop that I was in. It was fairly busy. I had a lot of regular customers to come and see me, and I
Mm.
wouldn't be able to focus on doing an establishment in that shop because my clients come in and they ask me, for a haircut or something like that. They're like, "What do you mean you won't be able to see me for 2 days, 3 days?" And to give
Right,
my
right.
clients the level of privacy. So it was a good decision. I don't forget. I
That's
don't
awesome.
regret that. You know.
That's awesome.
So your business is doing well. I'm so
Yes.
proud of you. I
Thank you.
appreciate that you took my advice. I know
Always.
it's not the most exciting advice. you know,
Sometimes it's not, but you know, it's good. It's good medicine. The way you teach your class, I can see where some people who are not very mature, perhaps, um, or forward in their thinking, could take it the wrong way at first. But when you've been where I've been and had the experiences in this business that I have, you understand how valuable this brand is, the way Dr. Cornwell has it set up, and the way that you deliver the information. I could not have asked for a better experience, honestly.
but it's funny because I've heard people say that Sister Locks is dated. um,
Yeah,
what's funny it is, Sister Locks is a classic. You know, if it is not broke, don't fix it, and
fix it.
it definitely works. And what I realize is, some of my students, even if they don't completely, embrace some of the advice I give them, once they kind of get out there, just like you're saying, and start actually working and doing things, they eventually will realize the value of that, and that's the best we can
Right.
ask for. Uh, so one of
Right.
my, uh, I won't say, I don't know if it's going to be my last question, but a question I have for you:
Mhm.
how has the sister lock sisterhood, how do you feel about that? Because I think you've already stated we're not in competition with one another. So what's
Mhm.
your relationship like with your classmates and just SWAT community as a whole? What do you think?
hmm So my classmates and I, we still stay in touch. We have a group text, and we'll reach out, go, how you doing? What you doing? What's up? Have you finished your mannequin? All of that. So we still have a bond, my classmates and I. In addition to that, the community itself, I got goosebumps thinking about it. Being able to call on other sister law representatives, whether they're consultants or trainees, everyone is always so kind. Because I did reach out to people, and I had a client who reached out to me that had been going all the way to Seattle to get her hair done. And so she found me through the lady I told you about that's recommending people to me because she can't take any new people. So she sent her to me. I was able to call her loctician in Seattle, and this sister loctician was so nice. She explained everything about this client's history, what to watch out for, how to be prepared for her and understand things that could go wrong. And it was so helpful in dealing with this client that I was able to reach out to my colleague, whom I never talked to ever in my life, and who was so willing to give me the information to enhance my experience with this client. So I love that about Sister Lock. It's a community. It's a sisterhood. I'm sure there are brothers too that get this done who are doing locks as well. But I love that about it. I feel a sense of belonging, and I'm not by myself. So I just love it. I'm so happy to have found Sister Locks. It's going to enhance my life in a way that I couldn't have done it with any other brand. What other brand is there like this where you do locks and there's a community like that? Who is it? Anybody?
I can't think of anybody, and I even mentioned, a black-owned business that supports so many other black-owned businesses, right? And it makes you look professional. And I just want to put out there, we have an amazing Sisterlocks family, but in the future, you never know. You may contact someone who may not be the nicest or the kindest, or sometimes they might just be busy. You reach out to
Mhm.
them and they don't
Sure.
uh, respond. And my advice, as always, you never know if they don't respond to you. I would say, reach out to them again. They could be busy, and if they're not as nice or as friendly, that's okay too. That's their
Sure.
prerogative. But I feel like
Sure.
that's not the majority the
Right.
of the Sister Lots, family. Rebecca, I know you've been in the beauty industry for a while. You said you were an esthetician. Do you think that you do not require any type of former training to be a Sister Lots consultant, but have you found there has been some carryover from what you've done, previously? How has that helped your Sister Lot business?
hmm yeah, definitely. Starting with first contact with the client and being nice and asking the right probing questions to be sure that they understand the processes. And then we have that wonderful e-coaching tool, hello, that was created by Dr. Cornwell that I send to people before their consultation. So what carries over is the professionalism in this business, scheduling appointments, using an app where they will receive a confirmation text message and email. I think that that helps your credibility with people when they see that you're actually running a professional business. And when you call, I call and check on them. I even send a reminder where in 2 weeks they get a reminder it's time to shampoo your locks.
Oh,
Yeah. And so I think being coming from the beauty industry and then training people, because what I did in my latter years in the industry was companies paid me to go to their salon and train people on proper etiquette, salon etiquette, how to treat people and how to build a business. So that translates easy for me to understand, first of all, the importance of following the guidelines by the book. I did not create Sister Locks. Right. So everything that's written and what I've been taught, I'm doing it by the book, first of all. That ensures that my clients are getting authentic sister love. And so that's what I would have to say has carried over is the professionalism and importance in how you treat people, confirming appointments, and yeah, that part.
oh, Okay. I've had so much time, so much fun chatting with you and just seeing your
Thanks.
beautiful little face. Before we wrap
Thank you.
up, is there anything that you want to add or share? Did I miss anything?
I think we covered everything. I think we covered everything. Just thank you. I think you're amazing. I've not had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Cornwell in person. I have received emails from her, but thank you, Dr. Cornwell, for this amazing brand and giving me the opportunity to have an avenue to continue to be in this business at my age, starting over. And because I don't always want to work for corporate. I need more time freedom. I want to just work for myself now. It's not always fun when you work for people for so long. So this opportunity has given me an avenue where I can have time freedom, I can travel, and then I can maybe someday become a teacher too and give back to this amazing brand. So that's what I'd like to add is thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you. Once again, I just want to thank our Sisterlock family. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.